So following on from the previous video titled The Martians Explained, today we're going to be taking a more in-depth look into what exactly may have ultimately become of Earth and Mars in the All Tomorrows universe. Now in the section of All Tomorrows entitled Earth Rediscovered, we learn that 560 million years in the future, Earth still exists and was rediscovered by a researcher who belonged to an unknown future human species. It wasn't a huge deal when the planet of origin was rediscovered and was only seen as a somewhat interesting piece of trivia among the future humans who were by now over 500 million years removed from Earth and obviously had no real ties to the place. There had also been a great deal of incredible and unimaginable advances and accomplishments made by this point, and the rediscovery of Earth wasn't really up there with things such as the ability to utilise wormholes for intergalactic travel or re-encountering and defeating the Q. So when Earth was rediscovered by the future researcher, it didn't really make any waves. It wasn't a huge deal. There was no sentient life left there anyway. However, in the image provided we can see that there is still plant life and water, and therefore the conditions for terrestrial life are still present. There are, however, no humans to be seen. The book doesn't make any mention of any wild animal life being present, but it can be assumed that there is still wild species on Earth, as it is described as having gone feral. We can also assume that at this point in time, Mars is in a similar condition to Earth, overgrown, feral, and no humans around. So this begs the question of what exactly happened to the Earth people and the Martians. After the Star People were created and went off to colonize the galaxy, Earth and Mars were left behind. In the previous video, I went into a little theory at the end where the citizens of Earth and Mars, not wanting to hinder the Star People or hold them back, simply stayed on their respective planets and didn't attempt to venture out any further, realizing that they were now obsolete lifeforms compared to the brilliant Star People. They had become enlightened and peace-loving, no longer engaging in wars and no longer having any desire to leave their worlds. This is just one theory of countless possibilities, however, and now I'm going to get into 3 other paths that the human race could have taken, which we'll call their good, neutral, and bad endings. And of course, it'll be fascinating to read your theories on what became of the old-style human race as well, so leave a comment below with your thoughts. I have no doubt that there will be some extremely interesting ideas, and I look forward to reading them. But for now, let's take a look at 3 of my own theories. Let me know what you think. Good ending. Rather than becoming homebodies and staying on Earth and Mars for the rest of their existence, the now peace-loving human race decided that they would indeed still voyage out into the stars themselves and colonize new worlds. With the advent of the Star People, technologies that were designed by them were of course there to be freely used by the original human species as well. While it is stated in the book that the Star People were the ones to colonize our spiral arm of the Milky Way, that doesn't mean that the older version of humanity didn't do any further colonization of their own. They had managed to colonize Mars after all, and with access to Star People tech, they were more than capable of heading out into the void to find new suitable worlds to terraform and populate. They did this for many millions of years, and using the Star People's knowledge as a base, would then go on to make their own incredible advances in all areas which were uniquely theirs. They did not want to cause any suffering to any other living things, and so they would always make sure that any potential worlds suitable for human settlement contained no intelligent life. They never found any intelligent alien life anyway, and so they were able to populate an untold number of moons and planets, and would eventually evolve to the level of attaining interdimensional travel. They would survive and thrive, and were able to outlive the Star People before disappearing into the unknown, another plane of existence that we couldn't possibly comprehend. Neutral ending. In the neutral ending, the human races living on Earth and Mars continue on for many millions of years, but with so much time having passed and many millions of years of natural disasters having taken place, they had completely forgotten much of their history and had no knowledge of the Star People or their past Earth-Mars war. The people of Earth believe that they have always been on Earth, and the people of Mars believe that they have always been on Mars. The two peoples have completely diverged, and while they have remained aware of each other's existence, the majority of people on both worlds don't believe that they're related to each other, with only a handful of free thinkers theorizing that this may be the case. These free thinkers are, however, generally scoffed at by the public at large and the scientific communities on both planets, who dismiss them as conspiracy theorists. There is no evidence for the people of the two planets having any shared ancestry, and so it cannot be true. Any small scraps of evidence that are uncovered by renegade researchers are quickly lost or go missing, indicating that a cover-up by their leaders is in play. By this point, there have been so many new religions that have sprung up over the millennia that they are now so deeply entrenched into people's psyches that the truth coming out about Earth and Mars having shared origins would send much of the population into an existential crisis, and anarchy would ensue. Earth and Mars both resemble present-day Earth in some ways, and it seems that they are doomed to repeat history once again, going through everything that their ancestors from millions of years before them, i.e. us, had to go through, and the cycle continues again and again for millions and millions of years. Eventually, the two human species, who are now completely different in almost every way, do what humans do best and go to war with one another over religious differences, not to mention the drastic physical differences. Humanity is wiped out by the war, and while this may seem like a horrible end to humanity, extinction-level events are a common occurrence throughout the universe, and this was just one of countless trillions to have taken place since the very first life forms ever came into existence. These two species were also watched over by the ever-neutral astromorphs, who again were believed by the scientific communities of both planets to be make-believe, with those who believed in them as gods eventually coming to be described as crackpots, after a so-called progressive wave of thought had overtaken their cultures. The astromorphs had allowed the people of Earth and Mars to do what they will, only ever watching and never interfering. After many millions of years of existence, they were now gone, having died out naturally from the effects of warfare. Bad ending. The Q, for millions of years, had been sweeping through the cosmos, capturing and genetically modifying any and all life forms they found. Eventually they found their way to our galaxy, where they set about changing the star people who had by this point terraformed and colonized much of our spiral arm of the galaxy. With the Q now working their way through all of these star people inhabited planets, it was only a matter of time before they reached Earth and Mars. They occupied the same spiral arm, after all. The Star People had attempted to fight back against the Q, with some succumbing to them straight away, and others managing to hold them off for a short while. But eventually, in less than 1,000 years, they would all fall to the invading menace. The older version of humanity, on Earth and Mars, didn't stand a chance. The Q took hold of all life, all of humanity on Earth and Mars, and changed it. Into what exactly we do not know, but if the future human species we do know about are anything to go by, then it would have likely been unpleasant. The Q were not just a far-off menace that changed the life forms of other planets far away in deep space. No, they would also be coming here, and there wasn't a thing that humanity could do to stop them. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe to be notified of future uploads, and don't forget to check out the merch store, which is now live. You can find the link in the description. This has been Beware the Q, and I'll see you in the next video.